All right, we're back. Hey, welcome to Corbellic Studios. We're going to be here for this live stream. We're going to be going over some different things today. We're going to be showing some different content on here. I'm going to be sharing with you. But today's topic that we're going to be discussing, we're going to be talking about how to scale up your business without feeling the burnout. All right, because we all get burnt out. We get burnt out in different things that we do in our lives. We get burnt out from painting all the time. We even get burnt out from our family. All right. Let's be honest. All right. We love them to death, but we even get burnt out from these people. And sometimes we just need to have some type of balance. All right. I used to say all the time that there's no such thing as a work-life balance. And it is somewhat true depending on where you're at in your business and where you're at in your progression of where you're at, where you could just be like, you know what, I'm going to grind this time. I'm going to get into things. And, it's just where you're at in your mindset. But don't worry. Look, we got a bunch of different videos that we're going to react to today. We're also going to be giving a shout out to the winners that's in the elite community. So that way you can see some of the people that are winning in the elite community. And that's what we're going to be doing every other stream. This is going to be something a little bit new right now. And it's going to be cool. I'm really excited about where we're going at in this direction. That way I can be able to focus a little bit more on giving you some more coaching content, mindset content, things to go in that progression. And these are things that really I excel in and that I need to be focusing you more onto. But we also have I already have so many painting videos. I've done 18,000 paintings. I've already done that. I'm not saying that I'm not going to paint again. Of course I will, but I really enjoy talking to you this way. So I need to have you in an elevated mindset. And you know what I always say, you can only serve two masters. All right. You can only serve two masters. So it's either the painting or the talking, but one of them is going to fail on the one of them is going to fail on one of the videos. All right. So we need to bring this thing to life. We need to get this thing up to gear. That's what we're all about here. And we're about getting better in everything that we do. Hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but the thing that's so cool is that I'm just showing up. I'm trying to be different. I'm going to also give what we're going to do on these new videos or this new live stream is that I'm also going to give a special shout out to each member or not each member, but one special member that I'll randomly select. And then I'll also will put their store in the chat. So that way people can give them love. They can go back to the replay and they can see that store, go in there, give them some hearts, give them some love, make their impressions go up high. So I think that's going to be really cool that I'm just going to select one random person for each one of these streams that I do. You can see their artwork. We're going to go in here, look at their artwork together. You can see how special they are. Everybody's phenomenal here. Everybody's doing a great job. And yeah, let's see who we got in here so far in the community chat. Let's see what we got. All right, we got Esther here. We got Tam here. We got Lee. We got Jaded Hunter, Sweet Life. All right, I appreciate everybody being here so far. And also, I think I might have to change around the hours if I don't know, maybe it depends. I think I might have to change around the hours where I'll start doing live stream like this, where it'll be the time that I'm doing it now. I kind of like this time where it's 2 p.m. and I'm not feeling too rushed, but I'm also not feeling like I have to do like a mindset kind of thing. It's really cool. It works for me. I'm able to get a bunch of my stuff done early in the morning. I had meetings already. Like, it's just cool. So let me know what you think about this as well. I don't know where you're at. In Los Angeles today, it is raining. It's raining like cats and dogs out here. But look, still able to show up, still able to get things going. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Either if you did Valentine's Day with either your family, your kids, or your husband, your wife, someone special, then that's cool. I hope you were able to enjoy yourself and be able to do that. But now it's time to get back to work. And then that's what we're going to be talking about today, the mindset. Now, what I want to also do right now, this is going to be really cool. And it's like right on time too, because right before I started the stream, I received this painting. Look at this. I got this painting from Tulio, and I didn't receive it as fanfare or anything like this. I actually, I paid for this. He's in Germany, and I won the bid on this one. And I wanted it. I wanted it because when he told the cool story, if you're not already in the elite community, we had a Q&A call. and he was able to tell the story about the swimmer at nighttime, where he's not able to see how much he was progressing, that he was actually like ahead of everybody. He was actually going, and but he couldn't see at nighttime how far he was going, and he was about to give up, and he was doubting himself because he didn't see how far he was going. Kind of like what we talk about with beginner's luck. Beginner's luck is really just that someone, they didn't have society or people telling them what the limitations were. So they were able to just keep going and keep going. And then they didn't know, what, I'm in the deep end? What, you mean nobody's done this before? What, you mean to tell me that I'm not supposed to do that? So that's what beginner's luck is that, they're just naive enough, or we like to say kind of like they're dumb enough where they just take the actions. All right. And let's see. Let me open this up because I'm really excited about this. Here, let me get my scissors right now so we can all check this out together. All right, look at this, all the way from Germany, huh? Look at this. He's an international star now. I think on the shipping I paid $45 for this. I buy art all the time. So if there's art pieces that I enjoy from the elite community, I'll put bids on there because I really want it. It's not about like, fake support or anything like that, because you guys don't need it. You guys are already making the moves happen. You already have your own collectors. It's just about I wanted the art piece. And what's so cool is I didn't expect either that he also sent an explanation of the night swimmer. So I'm gonna read this off too after I show it to you, which is just so cool. Let's see here. Let's see. What do we have? All right. So far, people said that they love the new time. Great time for Aussies is 8 a.m. So yeah, 2 p.m. That's awesome. Verdant Garden says hello. I'm looking forward to the new format. That's awesome. See, I'm so excited. Let's learn. Yeah. See, I'm happy. I'm happy that I always, me, I always feed off of your energy, and it's always going to be good because we're in this together. And I got, it'll get better with things. I got a whole show planned out for you. So we're going to be talking for a while. I like to talk. All right, check this out. So he put the parchment paper on here. The parchment paper. I'm just making sure that I can see it on the screen. All right, there's the parchment. Let's see what it looks like. Boom. Woo, look at that. That is beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. The Swimmer in the Night. That's what the title of this is called. The Swimmer in the Night. That is beautiful. I appreciate this, Tulio. That is really beautiful. I didn't even know that I didn't even know that looking at it when I purchased it, that it had it's like a moon, it's like a light. There we go. It's a dim moonlight right there. You see that moonlight? So check this out. Let's read what he put on here, because this is how he explained it in the our Q&A. And I always butcher the whole story behind it, and I put it in my own kind of thing of what it means to me. But I mean, this is what he says. The swimmer in the night. Imagine a swimmer entering into a quiet lake at night. He wants to reach the other side, but it's dark. There's no moon, there's no light, there's no point of reference. He cannot see anything. So he just starts swimming. He swims. And then in reality, he's already covered more than half of the distance, but he does not know. As time passes, his arms become heavier. His doubts arise. What if the shore is still very far away? What if I use up all my strength now and I can't make it back, right? Because he can't see anything. It's nighttime. So he thinks, if something doesn't happen soon, I'll have to turn back around. Otherwise, I'm going to lose everything, even lose his life. I'm thinking at that point, right? Like, and that's how I look at things. It's funny. I just had a meeting. Before this stream, and I was talking about that, where it was like, I've been in situations where it's like life or death, because that's how I look at it. It's kind of like life or death. You have to put yourself in these situations where there is no more ship to go back to. All right, but let me keep going on here. I'll lose everything. And that's exactly what happens to so many people. They give up even though they are so close to their goal. They're so close to the shore, but they can't see it. They're 10 yards away from the shore. They lose their heart. They're 5 yards away before reaching it. They turn around and they swim all the way back. They swim all the way back because they couldn't see it. How many times have we seen that meme where it's like they're digging in the mine or whatever, and they got two examples? They got the guy who's like he's he's digging for the gold and he's further away, but then the guy down below, he's like only an inch away from the diamonds or the gold behind the mine, and then he walks away. It's kind of like that. But he says it right here. They give up even though they're so close to the yard, 10 yards from the shore. They lose their heart 5 yards from reaching it. They turn around and they swim all the way back. Not because they couldn't do it, it's because they couldn't see how close they already were. But what would happen if the swimmer had perceived or persevered a little bit longer? At some point, imagine it suddenly gets light. The sun rises, and all of a sudden, he sees the shore was only a few strokes away the whole time. Or he feels beforehand the ground beneath his feet, the water getting shallow, one last stroke, and he's standing. He's made it. So he keeps swimming. Even if you can't see the shore yet, hang in there. The shore will come. In her amazing book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, the author writes, the student must also learn not to despise the day of small things, that it's the demonstration that comes the signs of land. Before Columbus reached America, he saw birds and twigs, which showed him the land was near. So it is with the demonstration, but often the student mistakes it for demonstration itself and is disappointed. So in life, we as the swimmers in the dark most of the time. That's so true. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is that successful people keep swimming even when they cannot see the other shore. They will reach the other shore while others will not. Whoo! Let's go, Tulio. Look at that. Huh? That's what it's about. And I'm going to hang this up. See, this means something to me. This is sentimental. That's why I purchased it. It's sentimental. And the story was sentimental. I greatly appreciate that. Oh, he also wrote another little nice thing. I'll read it off. It's very short. Corbellic, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the fantastic program that you have put together and all the valuable advice that you share with everyone. I wish you and your family good health, every blessing, and continued success with all of your projects. Greeting from Germany. I greatly appreciate that. That really means a lot. That means a lot. Isn't that cool? Come on. I'm telling you, like I said, we got a whole show planned out here. Like it's cool. We got a whole thing going on here. And that was a nice icebreaker in there because it really leads into what we're talking about. What we're going to be talking about is how to not burn out and how to keep swimming, even though you feel like you're not able to see the other side, because that's life. And a lot of times I say these things when I'm painting, right? And it might go in one ear and out the other, or you hear me, but you're not listening. When I'm saying we have to be time walkers, whenever they talk about manifestation, it's like I kind of hate saying that at times. Like even though I believe in it and I do it, it loses its whole feeling because there's too much woo woo out there where people think that you could just say these affirmations and manifestations and these things come to you, when really it's about the actions. So a big part of the manifestations is that in order to control your reality, you have to be delusional enough of whatever you see today doesn't affect your future. You have to be a time walker where who you want to be tomorrow or who you want or where you want to be, just like the swimmer of where you want to be, you have to be delusional enough of today without you seeing the physical results of today. That is going to be your reality of tomorrow. So that's how I'm able to do that as well. That's how I'm able to have universal laws of wealth and universal laws of great energy to come my way, is that I'm not too swayed off of too much about what's happening today, because these are just illusions of the mind. And usually when you have the most doubt, that's usually when you're the closest to the shore. That's usually when you're the closest that you're about to hit your goals. And how many times have we had these situations in our life where we're so close and then we give up? We give up. We do self-sabotage. We self-sabotage ourselves all the time. And then what is it? 3 months later, after we quit, 3 years later, after we quit, we go back to where we recorded some parts of it, either a journal or either something that we looked at. And then we see how far that we came. And we're like, you know what? My brain was my worst enemy back then. And maybe I'm more mature now. Maybe I'm stronger in my mind now and I can see it a little bit clearer. And if I would have just kept going, I would have kept swimming and I would have hit the shore. Or I would have been able to hit that goal if I would have kept going. Looking back on it, wow, I was painting, and at the time I thought that it wasn't working for me, and or I didn't see the sales or I didn't see the numbers of what I thought. But if I would have kept going, I would have been successful. Because usually what we do at that time too is we look at a comparison of people who were starting when we were in our peak. These are some of the people who looked up to us, right? And then all of a sudden we quit because our brain plays a trick on us. And then when we quit, we see 3 months later, 3 years later, the person who was looking up to us, who just started when we were at our peak, that person's a millionaire now. That person's successful. And we always say to ourselves, wow, I was so close, but yet I was so far. The thing that made it so far is I let my mind play the biggest trick, right? And that's what happens to all of us. It's very easy to happen. For me, what I say to myself anytime that I have these moments of doubt, anytime I have these moments of where I'm feeling like I'm about to burn out, I can't do it no more, I always say to myself that that success is right around the corner, and it's really just the old generational curse, or it's the old frequency of the low vibration, the low frequency that wants to bring me back. It's kind of like I guess you could say it's like a way of withdrawal, right? Like someone who's withdrawing from something. The only time that they actually want it, the only time that they're itching for whatever they're withdrawing from, caffeine, TV, whatever. The only reason that you're withdrawing, with having the withdrawal, is because you're actually growing and your body's having the growth without it. So it's like that low frequency of whatever you're withdrawing from, it wants you back. So anytime I have these doubts, or anytime I have these feelings of doubt, or anything that I'm feeling like I'm not close to the shore, I know that it's there, and it's just a low frequency that's itching, and it wants to bring me back into it. I'm like, no. That's a great sign. I know that success is around the way. And this is something that's helped me, but I've learned from eBay off of doing this. I learned from other businesses of that anytime I'm having these challenges that's in my mind for now, because I'm swimming in the dark, right? Just like this painting, then I just know that success is tomorrow. And it's so weird how it happens like that. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of you who are already at the top echelon now in the elite program, don't you have these days, right, where you don't feel good that day, or you don't feel like you're progressing that day, but you still show up? And then it's weird how you just get a good night's sleep, and the next day you don't feel like that at all. The next day you actually feel like you can do it. You can achieve your goal. But if you would have listened to your brain just yesterday, maybe you would have stopped, or maybe you would have listened. It's just so weird. I have these moments all the time. I still have it because we're human. All right. Let's see here. Someone says, yes, dang onions. That's so true. I know, right? Like I'm over here all sentimental and stuff. I'm ready to just tear up listening to that. All right. So here we got right here. I just wanted to go into that and show you that artwork, but also let's go into the artist of the day. We're going to have an artist of a day. How cool is that, right? Like have an artist of a day. And the artist of the day is going to be Mary Myers. Great art right here. I mean, beautiful art. Look at this art that she put up on here. I mean, let's just look at some of this right here. Look at this. This is beautiful artwork. This is beautiful artwork. Look at this. Here, and while I'm here, let me grab her page, and then I could put it in the chat. I think that would be cool. Boom, bam. So there you go. I put it into the chat right now, so we could just look at this, her page, and you could go over there we'll always have the live replay on here, so you could go back and you can look at where I put in here, and you can look at her page and give her some love on here. This is beautiful art. Look at that. Look at that impressionism right there. I love that. I love how she was able to like do a it's kind of like scraping. You can see it right there where she was able to scrape that. And then it's the layers of the paint right there. So it's not like a traditional where it's just the blue or the light blue, kind of how I do it. It's very different. And then she was able to use, I wonder what technique that she was able to use her trees like that. I would love to learn that technique because that's beautiful. And look at the coloring on that. It looks like it's like a yellow gold, right? Like, but she has the scraping right there. Her art is beautiful. Look at that. Look at the layers on that. I love that. I love that. And I love the simplicity about it. And this is the thing that we're talking about when it comes to art, is that a lot of times people will pay good money for the simplicity. It doesn't always have to be challenging. It doesn't always have to be complex. It doesn't always have to be where it's so many different layers. And a lot of times we don't know when to stop. And the best time is like when we have the timers on there of how we work. So that way you're able to know when to stop. And a lot of times that's how you're able to produce the best work. Sometimes we keep going and we ruin our own artwork by just keep going and adding stuff on there. And then she even has some abstraction on there, but she has different letterings. And look at that. You can see with some of the things that she puts in there where it's like go within. That's awesome. So that is awesome. So this is her store right here also. This is her store. And look, she has a beautiful banner, 100% positive feedback, 116 items sold. Look at the followers that she has already. She has 51 followers. That's collectors that she's worked on. She's built that up. Nobody can take that away from her. Nobody can take that away from her. Not eBay, not the algorithm or anything, because they'll always come back to her party. Look at this. Let's put some hearts on here. So her store is in the comments below or in the chat. Click on there, give her some love. Look at this pair right here. Like, this is just beautiful stuff. And this is what we do inside the elite community. So if you're not part of the elite community, this is something that we do to also boost your impressions. So even if you're a new store, eBay doesn't know that you're part of this cool community. So being part of this cool community, you already get a higher impression rate out the door because we have inside where we support each other and we give each other these hearts and these likes, which shows on the algorithm that, hey, this store's got things going on. This store has people that are liking and clicking on the artwork, and then put you on a higher page. So that way you're being able to have your artwork looked at. All right. I mean, and she's just doing everything right on here. She has them framed up. Look at this. I want to look at this real quick. Ooh. That is beautiful. Great job. I love it. Look at the texture on that. So great job on that one, Mary. I appreciate you. I appreciate you doing all the hard work, being part of the community, showing up, doing the work, putting the numbers in, being consistent. That's what it's all about. That's how you're going to win. That is how you are going to win. Let's see here. Let's see what we said in the comments. All right. Yeah, beautiful art. So that's the artist of the day that randomly select, right? I think that's pretty cool that we're going to do that daily, right? Where we can select somebody to have, we can look at the different artwork, right? Let me know what you think in the comments about that, where we can support each other that way and look at different artwork from different members in the community. Give some hearts on here. I mean, look at this. Look at this crazy buffalo. That is crazy wild right there. I mean, and you can just see how she has such a variety of different art on here. I mean, she really follows the assignment completely. That is awesome. That's awesome. That's different. That's something that AI or some factory in China can't do. Right? What size is this? 14 by 11? I'm going to place a bid on it. Why not? Bid. Boom. Look at that. That's how we do around here. All right, Mary. So I supported you that way. I put a bid in for you. Beautiful artwork. Love it. Thank you. All right, we got 717 Best here. We got Esther. All right. 717 Best, we're doing a new format. We're showing different people's artwork on here. We're also going to be reacting to some reaction videos. But also the main topic of today is going to be talking about how to scale up your business without feeling burnout, because it happens. Well, like, we all get burnt out in these little things, and it just happens. It's all these different things compound. So I'm going to go in more into some of the lessons that we talked about last week on the last stream, where I have it more concise. I actually wrote out like a book, and I'm going to share it to the community. I'm going to share it to the community either today, or I'm going to share it at the end of the week when we're done doing these live streams, and I could go into more of these lessons a little bit. But I wrote out a book this week. So it has all these different life lessons, or the universal laws of secret money and generation of wealth, and how you could bring positive energy and wealth back to you. And it's great. What did you miss? You didn't miss much you didn't miss too much. We really just started. But I wanted to give a shout out on here of like a special artist of the day. So the special artist of the day was Mary, was showing off her artwork. I put her link in the chat so you could click on there. And yeah, that's what we have on there. So that I selected Mary. I think this is really cool. It makes me feel good that I can be able to do that. Now, another thing that I want to do as well is I want to share 2 to 3 wins. All right. 2 to 3 special wins from the elite community. I'll randomly select them on each stream. So if you have certain the wins yourself, some of your wins yourself, start putting them into the community, because it doesn't matter even if it's one bid. It doesn't matter even if it's one sale. It doesn't matter if it's a new collector. The small wins matter. I even have a course that's in the elite community where we talk about how important it is for a small win. The small wins matter, because those are the things that build up the snowball effect. I care more about I care more about the small wins than I care about a company or corporation paying me $100,000, $200,000 a year, because I know I can scale that. It's ownership. It's my first. It's like, I'll hang it up on the wall. It's my first collector. It's the first person who bought something from me. I don't care even if it's sold for 99 cents or $5, or I don't care, because I know that I'm going to do great business by that person. They're going to keep coming back to me. And it's just a great way where it's like, this is my actual business. Like, my whole life, I worked for other people. I worked for other businesses. I've saved companies money. I brought money into corporations, and I've never been able to get any of the profits back for myself. I've never been able to where the communication or the relationships that I was able to build on for other corporations or anything like that, where it was able to come back to me. And when it's your first win, it doesn't matter. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. So we need to get more in the habit of celebrating our small wins, put it into the elite community, and make sure that you have the category as wins. And then what I do to those is we have our testimony section in there, where I'll put in there, whatever the win is, or I'll put in the testimony section in there, whatever your name is and whatever you posted for your win. So that way other people can see what it's about, and other people can actually get inspired by your story. So you can see right here, this is our testimony inspiration section, right? And we have so many different people in here where I'll add whatever their story is. I'll add whatever their post is of whatever the small wins. It doesn't matter. That way, when new members come here, or anybody, maybe you're just having one of those days where your brain is playing tricks on you, like the painting that we showed right there, right? Where it's like, I'm swimming, I'm swimming, I'm swimming. Where's the shore? I come here, even myself, even me, I come here when I need a quick pick me up. I come here and I read these off just to see how far I came, how far other people have came, what value that I'm providing, and it's that way you know that it's possible, but also you know that you could follow these people and you can also be inspired and you could come together and do that. So that's something that I like to do a lot, and I share it over here. So just be open to share your wins. All right, share your wins on here. It's a great thing. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. We're going to share the wins. I'm just pulling up the chat right now. Let's see here. Who do we have? Great artwork. Thanks. I got my first shipment of canvases today. That's awesome. The Sweet Life says I got my first shipment of canvases today. That's the good stuff right there. Because like we said, that's like the cartel coming in and bringing in, the shipment. Now, when that comes, there's no excuses. We have to get to work. Hey, Treasure Maze, good to see you in here. All right, so let's show right now a random win. This is from the elite community. This is a random win right here. And this is from Nick. Nick has been focused in. He's been putting his work in and he's been doing the work. Look, he said he had a great first weekend. 25 canvases sold total on auctions. You get what I'm saying? Like, look at that. I mean, and these are from most members. They've never been able to sell this much even in their whole life, or even at art fairs, or even at galleries, or anything. I wasn't able to do any of that as well either. And look at this, look at this picture. Tell me that's not inspiration right there. Tell me that is not inspiration, that picture. I love it. I love when you send me the pictures or when you send us the pictures inside the community that we could all look at and we could be inspired by. Because by ourselves, right? I get it. And I'm the same way. That's why I always like to tell the story, like by ourselves. If you tell me to do 20 canvases or 10 canvases, I'm going to think it's Mount Everest. I'm not going to want to do it. And it's just weird how I have things broken down into the program where you could do 50 canvases and it's not a big deal. It's just how we break it down into our schedule. It's not a big deal. And I know that he's never been able to do this before. And just to see where he's earned his collectors, and it's doing the snowball effect of where he was actually able to sell the 25 canvases. That's a big deal. That's a big win. Because here you got collectors right there, and you got collectors who are going to be writing you good feedback. You got collectors who are going to come back to you. You got the impression rates that's going to be high. You also have where eBay sees that you're not a degenerate. Okay, I mean, as long as he ships everything out, right? Like as long as he ships everything out, it arrives on time. He keeps everything clean. He keeps his nose clean. He's at 100%. You'll be top rated. You'll be a top rated seller next month. And then you'll be more on the higher echelons on the other pages, and they'll give you more sales. And then when you look at this, you'll look at how far you came. So from him doing this and just starting out, because he just started out, you're able to see he's swimming at nighttime. He's not focused in on what it is now. He's just keep going. He's going. And he's not being distracted of what he did yesterday. A lot of times us in life, it's not even just painting, it's in life in general. I'm the master at this. Being distracted of what you did yesterday. A lot of times we'll slow down in our work. We'll slow down in our work because we're so caught up in our laurels of what we did yesterday. So for example, the previous me in the past, if I'm not focused, I'll look at a group of paintings like this that I've done, and I'll feel so good about myself that I won't show up to work today. Like I'll show up to work, but I'm not focused into my job because I'm thinking keep looking like, look how many I did the other day. Look how far I came. Look how many I did. I'll be proud of myself for doing something yesterday. So that's another thing. Don't get too caught up into the work you did yesterday. Treat every single day like it's a new day. I always say the quote, treat every single day like you got bills that's due today, because bills always are due every single day, right? There's always something new that pops up. And when it pops up, you always want to be in the situation of where you're in offense, never just always in defense. You're not waiting around. So this is beautiful, but don't put yourself in a mindset where this exists. Try not to look at it too much, because your brain will get caught up into it instead of being like, I got work to do. I'm not thinking about the work I did yesterday. I'm thinking about the work that I have to achieve. All right, let's see here. Treasure May says, I would like to keep all my paintings the same size. What is the best size that sells? It's different. And then sometimes it gets stagnant. So you don't want to keep all your canvases the same size, because a lot of times your collectors and art, people who collect your art, they want to have different sizes. You know, it's going to get to a point in people's homes where they don't have no more wall space to put a 16 by 20. You know, like a lot of times people pay me more money just so they can have a 12 by 9 of my work, or a 14 by 11, because they don't have the space for it. So that was great, Nick. I greatly appreciate you sharing that. That makes me feel good on seeing that. All right, let's go on to the next win, the next random win from the elite community. These are all elite members. You want to learn how you can do this yourself. You want to learn how you can build up your store. Everything is built out for you. You don't have to be tech savvy. You can do this yourself. Join the elite. Everything, we have videos on here, how you can do this for your store, how you can have everything mapped out. You can do this. It's not difficult. You just have to do the work to set it up. But we have a community that's also there to help you along the way. But Nancy here says she got a bid of $70. I love to hear that, because we're not talking about a buy it now. We're talking about people were competing so hard for her work that they bid up to $70. So check this out. She goes, hey, I'm excited that I had two bidders fight tooth and nail for the win of my 14 by 11 Buffalo. And it reached $70, paid for, and I'm shipping out tomorrow. Boom. Then on top of that bid, right, we charge shipping. So she was able to also make money on the shipping of that. We're talking about she was able to make close to $100 on that 114 by 11, something that took her less than 12 minutes, especially for a 14 by 11. I'm telling you, when it comes to those Buffaloes, they do well. But also, like I said, if you're not part of the elite community, we have a full list in there of themes and different things that you can paint that are very successful with the SEO. That's our search engine optimization. And you'll be able to pull these things out as well. You know, I mean, like me, like I was saying in one of my videos last week, I've been doing this for so long that I know themes like the back of my hand. Anytime I want to print money, I can print money, because I know which themes to paint. I know which paintings to go for. I know which things that I'm going to paint. Now, what I'll do at times too, I'll spread it out. So even though I know Buffalo sells and they do well, right? I'm not going to make the whole store Buffalo, because then it's going to get oversaturated and eBay's not dumb and the customer's not dumb. It's going to get boring. Just like I tell you, don't always bank on the same canvas size. So what I'll do is I'll have different themes that I know go for, and then I'll spread them out throughout my, how I go about certain days. So that way I just print the money when I want to print the money. But that's awesome. $70 for a 14 by 11, or how I show you how to do shipping is practically free. All right. And we have videos broken down on that. So that's an awesome win. Come on, look at that win right there. How is that not a win, right? Come on, what are we talking about? All right, let's see here. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, remember to have fun. Exactly. Deborah says, do you recommend canvas panels also at the same price? I don't really recommend canvas panels at all, but at the same time, that's something that you would have to go off of and figure out within your own market. But I don't deal with canvas panels. It's just kind of a hard market for most people want to hang up the canvas. But I don't want to tell you no, because I've had some people who did canvas panels and they were actually very successful off of it. They were pretty successful off of doing the canvas panels, which is crazy. So I can't say no, don't do that. I would be that, whatever your frequency is off of that. And that's something that you can learn off of, but you can make money off of it. It's just I think of probabilities. All right, let's see here. Treasure May says, thank you for your inspiration. No, thank you. I get inspired by everybody. I'm inspired by everybody. All right, let's go to the last winner, the last win that I selected on here. Let's see here. Sarah says, my first bidding war. She got her first bidding war. See, that's what it's all about. It's all about the first bidding war on there. Like, that's what it's about. The small wins, you need to count those things in. I mean, because these journeys they're going to be normal to you. And once they're normal, there's going to be moments where, just like anything else in life, you kind of get desensitized about it. And then it's like, oh, it's just a business. That's the weird thing about it, is like certain things that I'm so blessed for. Like, I remember when I started out, just to make my first $5 or my first sale, don't even remember what it was. I was just so grateful and so thankful to God for the opportunity, because here I was doing all this gallery art and then people weren't buying it. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm doing everything right and no one's buying it. And then all of a sudden I come to eBay and I'm getting collectors buying it. It was like a dream. I couldn't believe it. The adrenaline hit me. So that's why these moments are very important. And it's going to get to a point where you will be desensitized from it. But I always remind myself, that's why I love this community, because it just reminds me how far I came, and it reminds me of how thankful, because if not, when I was doing it alone, you kind of get wrapped up into selfish ways, whatever. But Sarah says this, she got her first bidding war. A cat painting went for $101. All right, not $100, but $101. All right, not $100, $101. And the buyer paid right away. Woo! She says, I'm starting to believe this can work, even for me with my $30 shipping fee and longer shipping time. You understand? She's making it work. Now, Sarah, she's overseas. She's in Israel, I believe, but she's making it work for herself. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about eBay. So when people ask me, hey, can it work internationally? And I'm like, yeah, because eBay is global. I mean, the only competitor when it comes to eBay is Amazon. So they have their own server set up where you have the US one, you have the Canadian version one, you have the European ones, and then, you just have different ones, but they're global. So that's awesome to hear right there. I mean, look at that. That's a bid. And she made money off of the shipping, which she said it was $30 shipping fee. So think about it right there. She just came up off of a cat painting, $130. That's a bid. That's not a buy it now. That's people out there bidding for that cat painting right there. And that's also a cat painting. That's also in our list of themes that you can go off of, because people love their cats, they love their dogs, and you just never know where things are going to go at. So that's why we always talk about the lottery ticket effect, because you don't know where it's going to land at. That's the beautiful part about eBay and how you're able to build up these snowball effects. If you have I'll call it, what do we call it? We call it in the course the lottery ticket effect, right? Because it's like buying a lottery ticket. How many lottery tickets do you want to buy? Do you want to just create 4 beautiful Mona Lisa lottery tickets? Or do you want to put so many different lottery tickets out there where it's like, eventually you will hit, eventually this will happen. Eventually you will have art that struck out that night on a bidding war for the $70 on the last one, or $100. Now multiply that out. Multiply those out daily. You're hitting them daily. They have no choice but to recognize you. They have no choice but to give you the sales. They have no choice regardless. And that's better than what any gallery's doing. That money is yours. So that's what we're talking about right there. You can see how passionate I get about that. I get excited about that right there, because that's what it's about. Like, after a while, you're able to print out your money. You're able to print out your checks. All right, let's do this. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. All right, let's do this. All right, so that's what we have right there on the wins of the eBay on the elite side. These are members who are putting in the work. All right. They're like this painter. They're like this painting right here. Boom. They're like this. They can't see. They can't see at times because I understand when you're starting off the end goal or how close you are to the shore. But then when you have these moments like that, that's where the real like manifestation comes. Is it comes off of your energy. It comes off of you believing in yourself and you knowing. That's where the adrenaline comes from. The more that I feel like the energy it's possible, the more that I can visualize it, the more that I know that I'm capable of doing that, then the more that I'm able to show up and do it. But the more that I have doubt inside of myself that maybe it's not possible, then I'm going to believe that it's not possible. What do we always say in here? We always say that whatever you say is true. If you say one way that you're capable of doing something, then you're right. If you say that you're not capable, then you're right. So whatever you say, you're right. And I just rather put myself in the mindset. But we're going to talk a little bit further about this in the main topic that's going to be at the end. And it's going to break down how it's important for you to visualize it. And as long as you can see it, as long as you can feel it, then you know it's possible and you're able to make your dreams come true. All right. So that's what we have broken down on there. Let me know what you think about those winning stories. Let's see in the comments. Thank you for the inspiration. Is it important to use professional grade canvases? No, you don't have to use professional grade canvases at all. Like we buy them in bulk and that would be too expensive. So you could get the full list of how we order our canvases. Click the link in the chat. It's pinned to the top. So you can see that link right there and you could join the elite community. I have a full supply list for you. Everything is broken down. It's very minimum pricing to start up your business. All right. And we have everything in there, the specific canvases that you need to get. And you can buy them in bulk, but don't do the gallery ones. That's stuff that they do to try to con people to spend more money. There's no difference in those at all, you know? So we use great canvases in ours and we just buy them in bulk boxes. All right, let's see what we have here. 717 Best says, hung by the tongue. And then Sharon says, oh yeah, I got a pet portrait all because of eBay. It's so cool. 717 Best said again, I love my cat to the moon and back. Hung by the tongue. Let's see here. Treasure May says, I went to a yard sale yesterday and right there on the table was a projector for $5. That was my sign to do this. See, that is your sign to do that. That's divine intervention right there. That's God telling you to get in the game. You know, if you would have signed up a week ago or 2 weeks ago when I had the promotion going on, you could have signed up for the year and I would have sent you a free projector. So I sent out a bunch of projectors about a week. What is it? I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So like 2 weeks ago, I had a promotion going on. It was just for that week because I believe in everybody and I sent them out. I send out all the projectors, the same projector that I use, but it's just a great thing. So that is a sign for you to do. If you can get a projector for $5, I try to tell people like, you don't need to be all fancy and you don't need to get all this other, like, just get into the game. You know, I want people to get into it. I believe in people so much where it's like, what other coaching program out there where the coach is like, hey, I'll pay for your ads. I'll meet you halfway and I'll buy this for you. Nobody else will do that for you. And nobody else will be like, you know what? I know how this works. I know how to make you successful. And then that way as well, too, you're also going to be dedicated into it. So I hope you were able to pick up that projector for $5. Please let me know that you picked the projector up for $5 or what did you do? Or maybe you already have one. I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's see. All right. So check this out here. So now we're going to go into, we're going to go into a segment right now where it's going to be, I'm going to go into a segment right now where we're going to be looking at some different type of art, right? And it's going to be some cool stuff on here. It's either going to be cool or it's going to be funny as hell because it's kind of like it's more performative. I think I have more performative artists than anything. And when we're talking about performative artists, the reason why I wanted to show this to you is because there's so many people who are so judgmental about what art should be or how we should go about art. Oh, you should do it this way. Oh, it has to be 1,000 hours. Oh, it has to be the proportions. Don't use a projector. Oh, how dare you? There's just so many different things, and I mean, it's weird because I don't think someone who's really supposed to be an artist, or if you're an artist, that's the last thing that's on your mind of how someone should do art. There is no right way of art. There's an old saying out there is that art is whatever you can get away with. That's one of my favorite quotes. Whenever I show up to the studio, I'm always saying to myself, art is whatever I can get away with. All right. If I want to duct tape a banana on the wall and make $10 million for it, I would do it. And don't give me that out there like somebody out there would be like, oh no, if you gave me $10 million to duct tape banana on a wall, I would never do it. I would never do it. It's all about the art and the quality. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, right. Stop lying. All right. Yes, you would. And then if you want to, after you do the duct tape it down on the wall, if you're so adamant about creating beautiful art and all that stuff, then you can still do that. You can still do that in your free time where no one's going to buy it. All right. But then the stuff that they want to buy is the stuff that you might not think, whatever it is. And that's the game that we play as well. We're in business around here. If you would have asked me years and years ago, hey, Corbellic, are you going to be painting some landscapes with cats and dogs? I'd probably be like, no, I would never paint it. I want to be deep. I want to be a deep artist. Okay. I want to have messages and symbols and I want to have whatever. All right. That stuff don't sell. I'm not going to say it doesn't sell. Eventually you're going to have a unicorn that comes by. But by the time that unicorn could have came by, I could have been working at McDonald's and making more money. All right. I could have been working at Walmart and making more money. I mean, I'm not trying to judge or say anything bad about people who work at those jobs. I'm just saying that I I look for more money and I look to excel. Okay. I'm about the money. I want the money. I want you to have the money as well too. So that's what we're saying. Might as well just have a regular job by the time those type of paintings sell. You know what I'm talking about. What are we talking about here? I'll take two bananas and give me $20 million. Exactly. Like, come on. Like, exactly. I'll take two bananas and give me 20 million. And then you figure it out. You know what? Give me $20 million. I don't even care if I had to pay taxes on it at that point. Like to tape a banana on the wall. And then after that, let's see if you still want to spend 100 hours doing the polar bear hairs. Let's see if you still want to do this when you got $20 million in your bank account. Okay, I'm going to do that. No, instead, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hire an assistant to do the polar bear hairs. Then when they're done, I'm going to write my signature on the bottom of it, and then I'll make a YouTube video or Instagram video pretending that I did that. What difference does it make? They don't know. That's what I would do, right? I mean, come on. All right, so let's get into some of these videos right now of where I had to show. I mean, I could like this stuff. This is so funny. All right, let's see. All right, here, let me let me oh here, let me I had to put my headphone piece in so I can actually hear where we're at so it doesn't come through the speaker on my mic. So let me make sure I'm plugged up here. All right, we're good. All right, you're gonna crack up on some of these videos, but this is gonna be cool. Again, like I said, we're just having fun, right? We're not judging any of it. I mean, we are, but we're not because it's just art. All right, it's just art. There is no right or wrong, but maybe we should be like some of these people, okay? Like, we should be like these people. All right, look, check this video out right here. Look at this. We gotta see that again. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this performative art. I gotta show that one more time. Look at this guy. Yeah, we'll just punch the canvas up, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you could just see that. I mean, he makes a whole show of it too. So it's like I can't knock it, right? I mean, let's see here. If I go to his page, and I mean, okay, let's check this out. Let's see what we have here. All right, let me hold on. So let me take the volume off of that one. I don't want to get any copyright. Look at this. Look at that, huh? There we go. Look at that, blindfolded. There we go. You just take some videos of it. Look, he's about to maybe he'll get naked and put some paint on his chest or something. Look at that. Oh, look. Look at that. It's like performative with the music. He's really into that. Look at that. I mean, he's got the whole hand motion. He's got his hand behind his back. Wow, look at that. And I think he's doing that for the background, right? Now, but imagine if somebody would see him, right? Or there's like people in there. Okay, like this person right here says, while I personally don't like this art style or painting, he's just expressing himself and enjoying the process. Who are we to hate on that? See, I agree with that because that's art. It's like, even though it might not be my paint style, I say that for a lot of artists, even artists who I like. I'm like, it's maybe it's not my thing, but I can appreciate the hustle or that whatever he's doing. And then his other artwork, it'll look like something like this, I guess. Um, like glow in the dark. I remember when I first started doing like art shows, there was this artist who I was working with who used to do stuff like this, like glow in the art, yeah, glow in the dark art kind of thing. And it was more like I don't know. I think it was all theatrics, kind of like this. Look at this. Let me see what music is on here.
Anything. You owe everything to you. If you don't put the work in, you will get nothing back.
Well, positive message.
Go to work.
Time to get up and go to work.
With your life.
Be consistent. Look at that. Look at that. He's dippy dabby tabby. Look at that. There he goes. I mean, do y'all think he's on any kind of drugs? What the heck? I mean, okay, so I'm just showing that right there, right? Like, look how crazy. And that's just him in his zone of doing that. Okay. Now look at this artist right here. This artist, he puts his hand into a acrylic ink, like a dark green or something like that, and he puts it on heavy gallery paper, and then that's what he does. That's his whole spiel right there, right? Look at this. And then he sells each one of these for like $3,000 or so. We got to check his page out. Let me show you this stuff. Look, this is his whole page. This is his art style. Look. And look at his profile portfolio page, or what he looks like. This is a grown man. He's serious about it. And I can't knock it. Cuz what I always say is that if you do one stick figure, people are going to judge you and they're going to try to say you're a stick figure artist. But if you do 1,000 stick figures, they're going to say you're a professional stick figure artist. Look at this. Let me turn this music off. I don't want to get a copyright. Look at that. Now let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Huh? Look at that. Some people in the comments, they go, this is full of emotions. This person goes, how many years it took you to come up with this hustle? Creative enhancements. Let's see what he says.
Une expo qui s'était bien passée, une expo à Paris.
Anybody speak French here? See, if you speak French and you come up with artwork like that, you can get away with anything, right? Only thing you gotta do is speak French. Ooh la la. Je qui. Je quoi. You say stuff like that, and then you can do anything that you want on these pieces of art. Look at this. Look at this painting right here. This is with his hands. And you can make a whole career out of that. Look at this. I want to go to another video. I mean, look, you got people standing around saying how explosive, how creative. Look at that. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. That's what it's all about right there. Oh, I want another one. That's just... And look at the background. They're like, they don't know either to be like amazed or they're like, is this a grift? What is this? You never know. Hey, but if you would pay me to do this, I would do it all day. And then I would create a great story about where I got the ink from. That the ink. Whoa! Look at that motion. Whoa, look at that. He really flipped his whole elbow and his arm around to do that. I mean, he's mixing the paint in a doggy bowl. Oh, definitely. It's about who you know. Yeah, sometimes it's who you know, not what you know. Seems to be more about the performance. Yep. Someone said it reminds me of calligraphy. All right, Jada Hunter. You said it reminds you of calligraphy. Then I got something for you. Let's see here. Cal says he has a lot of rich friends and he drinks but his stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point too. Verdan Garden says, I hope he has barrier cream on his hands. That's so true, right? Or that ink would just be everywhere depending on what it is. All right, let's go on, let's go on to the next one. All right, what about this calligraphy? Hold on, let me let me restart this. Oh, let me turn this down. Sorry on your ears. Let me turn that off. Lord. How about that? How about that calligraphy, huh? I'm gonna try this out actually. I'm about to do the next painting video and I'm gonna dress up. Instead of like putting the banana on the wall, I'm gonna become the banana. I'm gonna dress up like the banana. And then yeah, I'm gonna do some gymnastics. And then I'm gonna put like a mop. I'm gonna tape a mop around my hand. Look at that. Look at that move right there. Look at that calligraphy, huh? Look at that. Hold on, we gotta see him do this front flip at the end. Look at that. And look at the people just all sitting around. They're like, wow. Look, boom! Look at that move right there. He spent $100,000 in art school so he can learn that. Look at that! Wow, all on his shoulder. You see that move right there? I wanna buy that. AZ lady said, "This is why I like eBay. I don't have any rich friends." Tam says, "Be the banana." Oh, yeah, this time, look at this. This is the banana dancing. Oh, that front flip was everything. Ta-da! And they're clapping afterwards too. Let's hear if they're clapping. Voila. All right, that's too funny right there. So you said calligraphy. I had to show you that one. All right, so let's check this one out. Let me refresh this one. Huh? How about that? How about just wet paint? And then only thing we got to do is put air into a plastic bag. And then look at that. But what's crazy about it is like when it dries, it actually looks kind of beautiful. I'm not even going to lie. Look at that. All right, there's only so much of that sound that I can hear though. It's driving me crazy. Let me go to his page and see what his hustle is about. See, art is whatever you could get away with. And people would buy it too, as long as you have a story with it. Look, I hung out with a lot of gallery artists and millionaires, right? And a lot of times they were so full of it, but the only difference is they always had these great stories about the art. They would have these, like, I knew them in real life and I knew when they created these pieces, but they would always create anybody they talked to who was ever buying it or who had the money to buy it. Everybody they had a different story for. So let me go to this person's page right here. Let's see. Oh, this has different art right here. I don't even think this is the same guy, or maybe it is. He's just doing all kinds of different stuff. Textured wall stuff. All right. I guess that's not his I guess that's not his theme or whatever he does in that art. All right, let's go to this one. Let me refresh this one. Let's see if they have music on this one. Nope, can't have that one on there. They'll copyright me for sure. All right, so look, so this one, he just has so much paint, but it looks like from what he did, he actually drew out the dimensions of what he wanted the layers to be. And you can see, I guess he used it with the gray right here, so he would know like the area of where he wanted to go for the skyline. It looked like it's going to be a city skyline, so he did the proportions with the dimensions. It's not that much different than how we work. And I guarantee you this guy right here, before he started, what he did is he used the projector. Most of these artists, they use a projector. You just don't see that part in the preparation. They'll use a projector to line out where the proportions are at or where the lines are going to be, and they're like a child. They do what we do. So you see right here, like you see, look. You can see it. You can see it. He did this using a projector. He used these marks from a projector. And what he did, this is all gray. So what he did with the gray area is he was able to use a sketching instead of using a pencil or something like that when the gray was wet. He just used like a palette knife, and you can see right here. And what he did is he just layered it from the projector. So he's doing the same thing of what we do, but he'll use the proportions, and then he'll be a kid where he has his own colors come through. He's using his own color and his own focal points. Tam says it's really nice. It just hurts to see my soul, to see him waste so much paint. But it's not a waste of paint, because with these type of paintings, he'll have his own collectors that buy them. It's just the same as like Simon Bull. Like, let's go to his page. Look at this. He has 2 million followers. This is Paul Kenton. Let's see what Paul Kenton's working on. And look at that. He has two different palettes down here. So much paint. Now, you think he cares about like the type of paint kind of thing? I'm pretty sure it's either Liquitex or it's like Blick or anything like that. At that point, when you're playing around with that much paint at that type of level, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's great paintings in the end. And look at that. I love how he was able to play around and be a child, and he was able to do different types of abstract as the background. But then what he just used on top of it is just lily pads, and that's it. Any one of us can do that. I mean, that's why we always talk about anything that someone else can do, we can do as well. and he's just playing around with it. He's just being a child. So we talk about that all the time. Look, his background is just abstraction, and he's using whatever the cityscape is. And you can do this, and you can do this inside the AI to get your references. You could just go off of either, how we do the reverse engineering, how I show it inside the elite community, or you could just go base it off a silhouette, and then you can use that. And then you could play around with the colors. There's no right or wrong. Only thing that he used in the middle was just the light in this part up of where the skyline was at. But everything else is just a play off of the scraping knife and let it dry. That's it. It's not complicated at all. Just being a child. There is no right or wrong. Nobody can say anything. I love that. So this is really inspiring. This is really great work. Really, really cool to see. Look at this. Hold on. I got to see this big one. It looks like a carpet. That's how big it is. Actually, it's funny. I think I have another one of his videos that's coming up where it's like do they have it? Let's see here. Do they have an image in mind, or do they just go with what comes out? They have an image in mind, but then they let come out whatever comes out off of anything else. I mean, like there is no right or wrong when it comes to these colors, this abstraction. So he has in mind what the look is going to be. And this is the thing that's crazy. You don't even have to be an artist. You don't have to be experienced to do this at all, because the God is already inside of this. How many times have you done paintings if you're already in the elite community? You've never done that painting before, and you try it out, and then you're surprised that you were able to do it. Like, how did you do it? It's already there. So any one of us can do this if we want to. We just have to have the proportions there, which we already do by working off of the projector, and we can do this. But him, on the other hand, he's working a little bit longer than we are. We're doing like 10, 12 minutes or so. Look how close it is. It's kind of like a Monet, right? Monet's up close, they don't look like anything. It looks like crazy abstract. But then from a distance, like look at the texture on there. You can see where he put a footprint in there. That's a footprint. You can see that that's a footprint right there. So that's like what Basquiat used to do. And I love that too, because it also shows the collector or whatever that you're loose in your work. There's a distance from it. So from a distance, though, it looks like this. It looks more like the city, right? Like that. It looks like, oh, there's the city. But when we were up close on it, it looks like a Monet. It doesn't look like anything. And any one of us can do this. That's why I don't ever want people to get so caught up into the details of your work. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Stop trying to control it and be so close and contrived on your work. It shows. It shows. All right, this is the future artist right here. Look at this. Now look, this is just a basic version of a robot scan. Like this is like old. This is something that they created like 15, 20 years ago. It's way more advanced now, especially when the robots are about I mean, they're already working on the robots. It's just waiting for production or full production for them to hit the public. But imagine when the robots come out, they're already going to be doing this work. And then the thing is, they're going to be able to do this work because the AI programs of what we use to gather our references, they're already going to have it embedded inside of their head of what kind of artwork it is. So they're already going to be able to do it. Like this is just this. I mean, I wanted to just show this for fun, but this is an old version. This is nothing. This is for jokes and giggles. The AI that they're going to have come out in a year or so, or the robots that's able to do this, I mean, it's going to make some of our stuff obsolete. And I know some people want to be like, well, no, artists, we're human and we're creative and we could do it forever. The robots can't do it as good as us. Yes, it can. Look at what your AI app can do now. Some of that stuff, it looks like the mistakes were made by humans. And you mean to tell me that when it's in the physical form of a robot, they're not going to be able to do that? Why? Why are you saying that? That's being arrogant. All right, let's see here. But I thought that was pretty cool, just to show you what's coming, you know, and it's going to be much faster. Then what? You need to. I'm telling you, we got to start putting ourselves in position to afford the robots. Put yourself in a position to own the robots, or it's going to be too late for you. You got to be one of the first ones. If you're one of the first ones to own a robot, which is going to be like between 20 and 30,000, then you're going to put yourself in a position where you could start making $1 million overnight. Overnight. You kidding me? Overnight. Literally overnight. All right, let's look at this artist right here. Let's see if there's any music on this one. I can't play that music. I think that was Jimmy. All right, look at this art right here. Like, look at this guy. I think he was inspired by Simon Bull, it looks like, but maybe he didn't. I can't say anything. I'm not judgmental on art, right? There is no right or wrong. Because the thing that's crazy is that he has a collector out there who's going to buy it. And it's like super wet on wet. It's like super wet black, right? Black acrylic mopped out on there. And then he put super wet white acrylic to have this whole drip effect. And then he tripled back on it. But the thing is, this is how I used to work it too. You can see how, if you look back here, he has smaller canvases, like not these white ones. I'm talking about he has these black ones that's down here, so he can have a variety of those too. So what I would do, I used to work like larger canvases, and then I would work other smaller canvases too, so that way it could be a series. And I guarantee you, this canvas right here that he's doing the drip effect on, he's going to sell this piece to go along with that. Huh? What do you think? I mean, hey, it is what it is. Someone said for the robot, just pull the plug. Exactly. You could do that too. All right. Let's go on to the next piece of art. Oh yeah, I had to show you this, the final details. This is the polar bear hairs guy. Let me see if there's any music on him. Yeah, there is. Don't want to get copyright. Now, could you imagine doing this? Look at that. Could you imagine? Look how large that painting is. And he's drawing a beat. No, he's drawing flies on it now. Could you imagine doing that for 100 hours and it'd be like, all right, I went to art school, honey. I know how to do this for 100 hours while I'm standing up. Like my back would hurt. But this is my thing. I don't know what the hustle is on this, but I know it's got to be some type of hustle. Like, I don't know if he really spent that much time doing the individual hairs like that. Because for me, it's like, it's just a detailed image. It's beautiful. I'm not going to say it's not beautiful. Of course it's beautiful. But there's no expression into it. It's just a detailed picture or painting of a lion. And yeah, look how long that would take. My back would hurt. Looking at it looks like my back hurts. Let me go to the next one. I think we're gonna come up on him doing the actual polar bear, but I had to show that large one right there because that's just crazy. No, all right, no. All right, before we get to the polar bear, let me show you this guy. Let me see if he's got any music on. So this one right here, that's just the abstraction right there. Look, he's done. He's done. That's the painting. That's it. What do you think? And look how good it looks as long as you mock frame it up. So that's what we talk about mock framing it up too. A lot of times it's just really about how you mock frame it. Look at that. As long as you do that with the palette knife, serious hardcore strikes and motions in there. Look at the confidence on there. Look how he's able to, then he slows it down. There is no right or wrong. I'm not judging or knocking anything it is because I've done so many of these types of paintings. I did so many of these types of paintings. Like I've done a lot of these. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not better than this guy. I've done a lot of these type of paintings, and it has its moments, you know. But then it gets to its moments too, especially like buyers aren't dumb and they're trying to buy something with substance. So there's nothing wrong with actually doing this type of art. But what I would do now, like I would let it dry and then I would put a character on there. Maybe I would draw like a lady's a silhouette face on there so that it would come through. But then that means I got to do double work because not only do I got to do this type of background work and then I got to wait for it to dry, but then I got to go back in there with the projector and it's like that type of stuff. So it's like I've done both. All right, I've done both. All right, let's see him. Let's see him work it again. Look at that motion. Now he's putting a honeycomb on there. Look at that honeycomb. Or no, I think that was a bubble wrap. See, with my luck, y'all know me. With my luck, I would puncture a hole in there. But look at the type of paint that he's using. He's using Blix, or I think that's Amsterdam. Amsterdam and Blix is like the same thing to me. And then he takes that tape off. He's got a lot of tape to take off of there. And that's the gallery size canvas. You could tell it's a gallery size canvas because of the wrapping on the side where it's that 1 inch. And then that's the painting right there. Like I mean, to each his own. I just couldn't do it. Not anymore. Maybe I couldn't do it because I just feel like I painted so many of those, and I was burned because there was a moment in time where the market wanted it, and then there was a market of time where the market got smart and they didn't want it no more, and I was left with a bunch of it. So I had to go back and reconstruct those canvases where I would put a face on there, a cat, a dog, and then it would be able to work. He's so AZ lady said he's so dramatic. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. He's so dramatic. McCoy said, imagine how he butters his toast. I gotta watch another video of him. Hold on, let me go to his page. Because once you said that he's so dramatic, I gotta watch another one, right? Let's see how dramatic he can get on something else. But you know what? I went through these type of phases as well too, when it was like, you know what I'm talking about. We all go through these phases where, especially when we're doing art, we're really excited to try everything because we want to see what our style is. We want to see what works for us. We want to see, we want to see what could come out of us. Oh, that's pretty cool. So he did like a little boat kind of thing. Because I guess it's like a sunset horizon. All right. I want to see more of these. I want to see more of him being dramatic. Did we just watch this? I think we did. I think that was this one we watched. All right, let's watch this one. Boom! Look, wow. Look at that. I bet he butters toast real good. Look, he's real serious on this one. This guy's starting to scare me. He must have some serious strong canvas. He must have like a metal piece underneath of it or something. Because I'm telling you, with my luck, I'm poking all kinds of holes in there. You know how I do. Look at that. Wow. That last stroke on there was really serious. He's like a opera composer. But the thing is, when you're doing pieces like this though, there's no backtrack. So whatever you commit to, you got to commit to it fast and strong. I get it. And then you got to be confident that that's what it is. Because when you try to double back on artwork like this, the collector can see it and you can see it too, where you try to like fix something. Like, don't try to fix it. And if you ever try to do like abstract pieces like this, it's always better just to be confident in one stroke and get on to the next, or change up the palette on the next knife or whatever. But don't try to double back because it just shows and then it starts getting muddy. Hey, if that's his hustle, if that works for him, so be it. Oh, I have to show you this one. Let's see if there's music on this one. All right, so this guy right here, he's like the king of performative art painting because he does these super large paintings. And these pieces, I'm not even gonna lie to you, these pieces go for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. He does this type of stuff where he hangs upside down, blindfolded, and he sprays paint on it like that. And it's more of these theater, it's more of these theater pieces that's for Instagram. Look at all of that paint right there. It looks like he missed most of the canvas, right? Look at this right here. Look what it says. This painting is sold for $75,000. Full 8-minute video process now on YouTube. It sold for $75,000. Now, this is the thing. I know we're joking around and we're like, how? Why? I mean, what? But at the same time, do you think he cares what any of us have to say? Look at all that paint that just like right there, all that paint that just missed the ground. You think this guy cares about what we have to say about his performative art if he's getting 75,000 for it? Even if you took half of that, right? You know what? If you even if he was getting paid half of that and the gallery got it and he was getting $37,000 for that work, like it's just he has 1.2 million followers. So it's all performative. Like, look, like these pieces sell. And that, and you know what? Who knows either? Because we play that game too sometimes, right? Like maybe they didn't sell for $72,000, but it's the whole hustle of where your standard is at, of where your market is at, that you can say that it sold for $72,000, but maybe it really didn't. Maybe he's still holding on to it, but it's still just the perception of that it sold for this. Like we could say, like this one right here, look, he's putting on here, it sold for $30,000. Maybe he's not even saying that it sold for 30,000. Maybe what he's saying is that that's the gallery's price, or that he's just putting up on here. You never know how it works, to be honest. I had a painting on here where, or a video where we talked about, I did that quick painting and I was like, this is $16,000. Now, if it sells for 16,000, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe so. But you know, I can put it on there because I'm the artist. All right, hold on. Let me see this one, and we're gonna click off of this silly guy wasting all this paint. It's making me sick to my stomach. I'm getting nauseous. he's a, I guess he's a circus artist. Look at all of that paint. look at this. Man, how much paint would have cost a fortune? Ruined it or beautiful chaos? It's 50,000. I'm thinking about more of the wall in the studio. I'm thinking that my knees at my age aren't this strong. I'm thinking that with my luck, I'm falling face flat into this canvas right here. That's what would happen to me. All right, okay, fine, I did it. Now I'm going to need the community's help. I'm going to be calling people in the community to call the ambulance to help me get down. How do I get out of that? Who's going to pull it out? Does somebody pull the canvas away first? Like, how do we get out of this situation? We're in a pickle now. All right, let's see this artwork right here. Even these people around here are looking at this guy like, yeah, I don't know. Look at this. Oh, oh, wow. Oh, look at that. They don't even believe in it. Oh, wow. That's a miracle. Oh, let's see. I mean, they're so amazed by this. Let's see. Hold on, I just got to hear them cheer one more time. Hey, artists, whatever you can get away with. Artists, whatever you can get away with. I'm not knocking it. I'm just, I just think it's funny when other people try to say art should be this and art should be that, and art should be however. It's got to be 1,000 hours, and you have to have so much focus into it. And I'm like, have you not paid attention to the modern day art world right now? Have you not paid attention to what's going on, or like other things out here? I mean, we just watched a video of somebody having a paint bucket for $50,000. All right, let me read some chats right now. This is the AC lady said, this is cool. This is not a method for a rented apartment. Exactly. Jada Hunter says, I would love to have a place to do something like that. Crown Target says, if you watch the floor closely, he probably doubles those drop clothes for additional smaller canvases to sell one stretch. He could, you could. I know that's what Simon Bull does. This is the job for the robot. Yeah, right. I mean, everything's going to be the job for the robot. Jada Hunter says, it looks like what I get when I take prints off of my palette before I clean it. Yep, exactly. Exactly. That's what it looks like as well too. So that's what we had right there for the reaction art, where I wanted to show some of the performance art, some of the different art that's on there, and just show that part on there where also you could inspire yourself off of that, where you don't have to take it so serious because their ego's not involved in it, and they're over here making thousands of dollars. Even if they are, if they're not, when it comes to art at that level, eventually you will, because there's people out there who are going to have their perception of that's what the standard is at for you. And they're making the money. They're making the money, and they're not caring about what people have to say online, what it is. They're not thinking about what their ego, how long something takes, or any of that, and us, we're working off of the proportions off of the projector. So I just thought that was really cool, and to show you that on there. So now what we're going to be talking about, we're going to get into the main topic of how not to get burnt out, but scaling your business. All right. Scaling your business without feeling like burn out, without the mindset of, I understand, the mindset of feeling like, am I done yet? How many more to go? When is this over? How many more should I do? And I'm going to show something very important that I've seen online, and I wanted to share it with you. And I talked about this in a couple of the videos, but I was able to find it, and I could just read it off to you, where it really changed my mindset, but it helped me being able to push past myself without looking at numbers or looking at a metrics. Even when it comes to exercising at the gym or anything that I do in my life, I'm able to look at this quote and go about it, where I'm not looking at the numbers, because then the more that we look at the numbers, the more it's the perception of time. And then what happens is the exertion of it becomes more. It becomes more in our mind because we're counting down. That's why I always talk about don't day trade the numbers, right? We talk about not day trading the numbers, so that way the metrics don't get into your mind. It doesn't eat away of what the success is. Someone recently in the community, they said, hey, Corbellic, great news. eBay just put on your account that you sold 18,000 paintings. I would have never known that. I would have never known it because I don't day trade the numbers and I haven't paid attention to it. The only time that I was able to pay attention to it by talking about the 17,000 is by when I started doing the YouTube videos, and I had to look on the store to see like how many that I actually did sell. Let me see if they actually show you, and they show you on the front page. So then I was able to say that. And I would have never been able to hit those numbers if I also was like looking at the scoreboard. So that's what I want to show you right here about how not to get burnt out. Not to get burnt out by not looking at the scoreboard. Just focus on the time. All right. So check this out right here. This says right here that the Spartans, they discovered a psychological principle 3,000 years ago, and it explains why your workouts feel harder than they actually are. But like I say, I apply this to not just workouts, but I apply this to life in general, to business, to anything where it feels like it's going to be difficult. And we always want to get caught up into counting. So it says right here, number one, the Spartans, they trained under one rule: never focus on the effort, only the rhythm. So soldiers weren't told how far or how long they had to go. They were told how to move together. The brain, it perceives effort as lower when attention locks on to the pattern instead of the pain. So modern day workouts, they isolate you with discomfort. Spartan training, it dissolved it into cadence. They said that researchers later confirmed that this effect is called the perceived exertion distortion. When the mind tracks time, reps, numbers, scorecard, canvases, uh, when it tracks time, reps, and all these things, then the effort spikes or fatigue. When it tracks rhythm, the breath or sequence, the effort drops even at the same intensity. The body doesn't get stronger instantly, perception does. So the Spartans, they hacked a perception before the science even named it the perceived exertion distortion. So that's why solo workouts, it says that it feels brutal because your brain is counting the suffering. I just thought that was such a gem, like when I read this, because it was like, it's like everything else. How many times, even though I've done 18,000 paintings, right? It sounds impossible. If you told me to do that again, I would tell you to kick rocks. I'm never doing that again. And it would be impossible for me to do it. If you told me to show up to the studio to do 20 paintings, 50 paintings, it sounds impossible. I would tell you to kick rocks. I'm never doing it. I can't do it. But breaking it down where I just focus on, and I show you how we focus on the time at hand, where we're focused in the rhythm, we're focused in the flow of showing up to work. We're focused on the 90 minutes, showing up and having a flow within 10 to 13 minutes, right? And as long as we just do that, then we should at least have, I mean, there's times where I don't count my progress until the day is over with. But if we focus on that in that 90 minutes, we should at least have within between 7 and 9 canvases. We should have between 7 and 9 canvases in that hour and a half. That's that 90 minutes. And we're not focused on it. So what I do, if you were here earlier when we had the intro on here and I was showing the wins, and if you remember the first win that I showed where he sold 25 canvases, right? I think it was Nick. And I told you, me purposely, I would not try to look at that number count of how many's there, of how many I created. I don't want to look at it because my mind is going to do the perceived exertion time where it's like, okay, I'm focused on what I accomplished instead of what I have to accomplish, and it will get lost in the fog. So it says right here, this is why your solo workouts feel brutal. Your brain is counting the suffering. The Spartans, they removed counting entirely. They didn't even count. I mean, how dope is that? I mean, I think that's so cool because that's something that I could understand. Like, don't even count it at all. A lot of times, like even when you go to the gym, I used to say when I was younger and working out, I used to be like, your body doesn't understand the difference between 100 push-ups and how much you're lifting or when you're taking a break. It doesn't know the numbers. So a lot of times, just don't even focus on the numbers, just focus on the rhythm of what you're doing. Focus on that moment. It's easier to focus on smaller moments and lock in, and you're able to achieve more than thinking about how many canvases do I need to do to make $1 million? Yeah, I don't know. More focus like, how long is it going to take for you to be great? I'm not a sports person, but I would use the analogy of Kobe Bryant, right? Where he didn't pay attention to the scoreboard or how many points that he was shooting. It was more about in focus in that moment of being great. So it says here, the movement became automatic, almost ceremonial. Pain signals, they still existed, but they weren't interpreted as danger. The nervous system, it stayed regulated under load. So number 4, let's see here. It says modern fitness accidentally does the opposite. Timers, trackers, mirrors, metrics, constant feedback reminds the brain of how hard things are. The workout feels harder without being harder. Spartans trained without mirrors or numbers for a reason. Less feedback meant less resistance. The more that you're counting the metrics, the more that you're counting the numbers, the more that it's going to be more resistance. And I know it's kind of like reading that as well too. It's like we do use timers though. Yeah, we use timers to stay focused in that time, but I never say that it has to be in 90 minutes. I never say that it has to be 9 canvases. I always say it's going to be either between 6 and 9. I don't even see what it is as long as I'm focused in the rhythm of that time. Then when my day is over with, what I do is I look over at the pal that I had, and then I usually count how many I did. I can see my progress from then, but I'm not going to count it in the moment because what happens, what I've noticed is I'll get down on myself. I'll get down on myself that I didn't do enough. Oh man, that 90 minutes went by. Let me count those. How many did I do in 90 minutes? One, two, three, four. Like I'm already spending time doing that instead of me just focusing on the next 90 minutes. And if I'm doing that, then I'll feel bad. And this is the crazy part, like how the brain works. And I know you go through this as well. We have so many different things where we have more things that we could feel bad about than we could feel good about. And we need to stop doing that to ourselves, right? We need to stop putting ourselves in situations where we have more things to feel bad about than good about. And what I mean by that is that, for example, you could hit a great number in that 90 minutes, right? But maybe your metrics, you told yourself, I need to have 8 or 9, and you don't hit that number and you feel bad about it. Now you feel like you're a loser. Now you feel like the day is messed up. But then in actuality, if you're looking at somebody or where you started at a month ago, 2 months ago, or somebody who's even been painting for a while, they would be happy just to do 5 canvases. Like you shot you shot towards the stars, so you hit the moon, all right? But then since you hit the moon, you're not happy. I've done this a lot with myself where it's like certain metrics of what I said. I'll go in with the mindset, right, where I talk about I'm going to hit 100 canvases, right? And then I go in and then I do 60 canvases in a day, right? And I'm mad at myself or I feel down. And then I have to check myself like, man, you did 60 canvases. Like, that's a good thing instead of you feeling like, oh, well, you didn't hit 100 canvases, so you're a loser. So we have to step away from feeling like that at times from these metrics. Let's see here. The principle is simple and uncomfortable. What you attend to decides how hard something feels. What you attend to decides to how hard something feels. Strength isn't just muscle, it's attention control under stress. So if this hits, what are you focusing on during your effort that makes it feel heavier than it needs to be? So a lot of times when we're focused on certain things like that, what we're just talking about, things can feel like it's more difficult than what they are compared to with the smaller batches, the smaller cycles. A lot of times when I'm doing my personal coaching and I have my one-on-ones, a lot of the time is just me really figuring out your what are your stresses, what is your routine of your job, what is your day like, and then I come up with a plan where it's just working off of these things and taking away certain factors that's in your head that might be heavier, and then we really break things down into a smaller cycle so that way it's more achievable, it's attainable. So I wanted to share that with you right there. And then I even went into Google so you can see what the perceived exertion distortion is. It occurs when an individual's subjective rating of exercise intent it's it occurs when an individual's subjective rating of exercise intensity, which is RPE, it does not match the actual psychological markers often or physiological markers often leading to under or underestimating effort, overestimation of effort. High intensity exertion can compress time perception, while factors like inexperience, oh, I'm not a good enough painter, or high fitness levels can cause inaccuracies in gauging effort. The key aspects of perceived exertion distortion includes time distortion. High intensity exercise can cause an underestimation of elapsed time, with males and females potentially experiencing this differently. Males, they overestimate, females can underestimate. Subjective inaccuracy, like beginners, oh, I can't paint. They may feel that they are working harder than they actually are, while the elite athletes, they may underestimate the intensity of their activity, right? So let me know what you think about that. I thought that was pretty cool. 717 Best says, this was fun. See you tomorrow. All right, take it easy. I'll see you. I appreciate you being here. If y'all haven't already, please leave a like in the comments. Let me know that y'all appreciate the science that's been dropped on here, the fun that we've been having this whole breakdown. Let me know what you think. Also, I have a new section in here as well too, where you can join to be a member on here, and that way I can have I have a bunch of new videos that's on there. I have things that's already separated, where it's videos breaking down how you can make $10,000 a month, the mindset or the money set behind those, or even just more personal short videos, the things that I want to address and that I would talk about things that I've learned within selling art, a lot of different things like that. You're going to be getting the exclusive content on there when you join in the members. I know, and it starts at like $2 or something like that, but it's down below where you could become a member on here on YouTube. So that's something that's pretty cool. That way I could get back, because I have so much content, right? We do so much content. All right, so here I want to break this down on here, where we're talking about how you can scale yourself out without the burnout. Okay, how you can scale yourself out without the burnout. All right, now we talked about this last week, but like I told you, I really wrote down like a book on here, and I wanted to cover it real quick on here. I wrote out a book, and I'm going to share it into the elite community on different chapters of how you can use the universal laws of wealth, all right, and to bring these things to you. But I just really wanted to cover these two chapters that I thought was really significant about how you can scale yourself without feeling like the burnout. And I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest burnouts is including people into your goals too early. Including people into your goals, such as your family, your coworker, your friends. These energies eat at us, and then they can burn you out. They can burn you out. And also the burnout too is what we were talking about the perceived exertion distortion, about us timing everything, clocking everything, about where the metrics should be at, how many canvases. So on this one right here, most people destroy their goals before they even start. How? Because talking about it. Your brain's dopamine, they get a hit from talking. Your brain gets a high dopamine hit from talking. So, and then what happens when it comes to dopamine, you already are getting the reward. You're getting the results. Well, I mean, you're getting the reward without the results. And the universe says, all right, you're already rewarded. So then the flow stops within you. You're not going to want to work as hard because you're talking so much, or you already are telling things too early. And this is how you get burnt out, and you don't even understand it. You think at times you get burnt out because you're working too hard and it's internal, when really a lot of times it's external from you already exerting the energy out of there. You already put the work out already, and you need to keep that energy inside of you. You're able to work more and not be burnt out by you exerting the energy and putting it out into the universe. So silence is literally power. The instant gratification trap. This is what happens when you share your goals. You get a brilliant business idea, and you're like, man, I'm finally about to change in my life. And then isn't it so weird that you always feel like you're going to make these changes in your life? Things are going to happen for you. Things are going to turn up. And then as soon as you tell somebody, it doesn't happen. And then you're like, what happened? I was on the goal where things were going to turn good for me, but then they don't turn because you already put the business idea out there. The psychology is that you already have this pressure on you, but then also there's this energy, right? Where you don't even know, they could be jealous or whatever. So your first impulse is always, I got to tell someone. And then they validate you. You get excited. A lot of times we say, what do we say when we have a business idea, right? And we don't really believe in ourselves. We go, huh? What do you think? Don't you think that's a great idea? Don't you think that I should start that business? We're waiting for validation from people who might have their own agenda. Maybe they want to keep you at your job. Maybe they like you as your coworker. Maybe they have their own ideas because at the end of the day, they smile on your face and they're going to like you. But these people have their own agenda. You know, humans are humans where, especially when we're adults, they have their own agendas out there. And then you try to get validation, you get excited, your brain releases the dopamine, and then your brain goes, wow, we won, mission accomplished. Whoo, that was a good job. You worked hard. You really did a good job out there. And then you didn't do anything yet, or you didn't, now you have to work even harder. You have to work harder 2 times, maybe 3 times, because you have to combat the energy of what they have, even like behind your back. But then you also even have to work harder where you actually have to make the action happen. In comparison, your brain was like, but they already cheered you on. So they already gave you that feeling. Why this kills the goal? Your brain got the reward early. There's no motivation now to actually do it. And your DNA doesn't care about the long term. The short term dopamine was enough. The dopamine don't know the difference between long term dopamine and the short term dopamine. It's all the same thing. So it doesn't understand the difference between you actually talking about doing the work and you doing the work. The idea, it dies before execution. And even if it doesn't die, you have to work that much harder. We all know that. I mean, this is how you get burnt out. You're going to get burnt out because you talked about it. You even put it out there. If you ever want something to happen and not get burnt out, you want to have extra energy, don't put it out there. I know it sucks. I know it sucks to feel like you're being sneaky sometimes and that maybe you're keeping a secret. But don't put it that way because that's just society or people trying to manipulate you into feeling like you have to always say what's going on with you or say what your plans or goals are. And what do I always say? I always say that they're not mad that you're being sneaky or not saying your goals. They're mad that you're not giving them ample enough time to influence your decision, okay, and then to influence your energy. Now, the brain chemistry, when you're talking about the goal, it's the dopamine hit, as we talked about. The brain registers small victory, reduces the drive to actually achieve it, satisfaction without the accomplishment. Now, here's the mental strength test of what we talked about. Can you work in silence? If you can work in silence without feeling like you have to tell people the good news, I promise you, I've been doing this for a long time, not just eBay, but success and money. I'm telling you, you will be able to make so much money. Okay. You'll be able to make so much money. I've made $1 million, over $1 million just by being silent. Okay. This is how I've been able to be successful. And I know you'll get used to it. Maybe at the beginning, to some people it feels kind of scummy, but you'll understand this is how you don't get burnt out. Silence is strength. Can you resist telling anyone? These are mental strengths. If you can't do this simple thing, then you're not even going to be successful. I'm sorry to say that. These are mental strength tests. Can you resist telling anyone about the goal instead of you really just working on it? You know, a lot of times, these are the energies. A lot of times we think that it's physical and us painting or us doing certain things when really it just comes down to a lot of these universal laws. This is what rich people know. They just work in silence. Now, strong people can do this. Now here's the energetic sabotage, negative energy from others. Jealous people's energy can disrupt plans. They will. They don't have anything to do about the physical. We just got done talking about that. Energy alone can sabotage. If nobody knows, it equals that nobody can sabotage with their energy, even if they smile on your face, even if they're the happiest. I'm telling you, adults are some great actors. They're great actors and they can act very well in front of you. But even the energy behind closed doors, when nobody knows, it can sabotage. Protection through silence. Unknown plans can't be attacked. They can't be attacked if nobody knows. I mean, haven't you ever felt that where it's like you had something good going on and you're like, maybe I shouldn't say it because even this person who might love me or whatever, it could be your wife, it could be anybody, it could be your husband. Have you ever felt like maybe if I just don't say anything, they can't put the energy to at least know what it is. Like I said, they're not mad you're being sneaky. They're not mad you're being quiet about it or whatever. They're mad that you're not giving them ample enough time to influence your energy. So no negative energy can be directed at. Stays in energetic ether or either protected. Speculation doesn't have the same power as knowing. So they can speculate all they want, but it's not the same as knowing. And that's on that one where we're talking about staying silent. All right. Silence is a way so you don't get burnt out because negative energy is real. And then when you're like that, when you're flowing, this is how you're going to be able to scale up. You're going to be able to scale up just flowing. All right, let me go to the next chapter so I can break this down. Okay, now here's the exception. When silence isn't needed, it's after you accomplished it. There used to be an old saying that I said. One of my old sayings is that I would say that don't talk about the car, pull up in the car, right? Pull up in the car, and then they're happy. Yeah, that's all. Oh, wow, that car is nice. But you know, deep down, they're like, they're surprised the strength that it took for you to achieve to get the car, but also not to talk about it because nobody does that. You got to be crazy. Like, there's something special about you. Who does that? Nobody does that. They're happy you got the car, but most people like to talk a hell of a lot before even getting the car. They like to ask other people for permission. Hey, what do you think about this color? What do you think about this car? Tomorrow I'm thinking of going to the car dealership and I'm thinking of buying my dream car. Like, why would you do that? Like, you're giving your energy away. They're going to go home and they're going to do seances. Not saying that they do. This is how my mind works. You know, I'll like humans have energy. Like, everybody has some type of magical witch energy. You know, you got people, you're telling people and they're going to go home and they're going to do some type of curse on you, right? And then you don't even get your stuff because you talked about it. If you want stuff to flow to you, don't talk about it. And then things are going to flow so easy to you. Everything doesn't need to be complicated, and just pull up with the car. After it's done, it's real. It becomes real when it's done. Then after you won, these are things that you can talk about. But even then, once you have it, consider being humble. You're still humble. You're still a good person. You're still a phenomenal person. Let success make the noise. You don't need to announce everything. Mystery maintains power. Albert Einstein says that imagination is more powerful than knowledge, but also mystery. Mystery is powerful. So these are things how you can practice silence. When you get an idea, do not immediately share. Remember what I used to say about muddy waters, tap the lips, don't say anything. I know you feel like you want to. And a lot of times we want to because we always feel like we're inadequate anyway. Sometimes, look, we've been losers for a long time. All right. Let's just admit it. All right. Most people, they feel like they're losers and they finally want society to know I'm not a loser no more. I'm changing myself. These are things that I'm working on. They don't need to know that because as long as you want to keep sharing to people that you're not a loser, the more that they're going to make sure through their energy and through their curse that you're going to maintain the same person who you are. Because nobody, I don't care who it is, they don't want you doing better than them unless it's your mama or your daddy. They don't want you doing better than them. It's just, it is what it is. Let's see here. Anytime that you feel like another way to practice silence, anytime that you feel like you want to say something, redirect that energy into action. Keep it locked until the manifestation is complete. So it's a 90-day rule. This is something that I practice, so that's why I wrote it down here. In order for me to be the most successful in anything that I'm doing in a business endeavor, it's super important for me to not tell the masses or anybody for 90 days. 3 months go by very quick, but during those 3 months, I need that trajectory. I need that momentum to make sure that everything is successful for the business to go up. Because the hardest part when it comes to the business part of anything that you do is the beginning part, because you're going against so much friction. What is the hardest part of an airplane taking off? It's when it takes off, right? Because you're going against so much friction. But then once you're in the sky and you're flying high, it's impossible to pretty much bring it down. You're already flying. So I always do that with the 90-day minute rule. It's just 90 days. Make sure that you're focused on that time. That's how you don't get burnt out. Keep it to yourself. Zero mentions to anyone after 90 days. Then you can evaluate where you're at, and then you can determine if you do want to share or not. All right. Now, the next one that I want to talk about on here is simplify the journey. You have to simplify the journey. That's how you don't get burnt out. A lot of times people get burnt out because you think that every single thing that you do, it has to be a Mona Lisa. It has to be a Ferrari. It has to be a Lamborghini. It has to be so complicated. They always say that they always have to make things so difficult. All right. Don't make things so difficult on you. It doesn't have to be. And the more that you get into this mode, the more that you're going to have flow, the more that you're going to accept that money comes to you easily. Okay. These are old affirmations that they used to say in the 50s and 60s. I think it was Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc is actually the one who took over McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers. And he used to say in the mirror that money comes to me easily. Money flows to me easily. He used to say these affirmations to himself in the mirror. He was a loser until that he took over McDonald's. But he said these affirmations to himself. That it comes to me easy. Things come to me easy. Success comes to me easy. These are things that not only I say to myself, but I'm in a flow state where I'm doing the action and it makes it happen. Okay. Everyone thinks that success must be so hard and so difficult, but no pain, no gain. How many times have we heard stuff like that inside the gym? No pain, no gain. Or social media only shows the struggle stories. Oh, I walked through glass. I walked 20 miles to school until I was until I was in middle school. I was born and I walked 20 miles in the snow with no shoes on back then. But what if there is an easier way? And what if people reject it because they're threatened by their ego, right? Now, the success narrative lie, what we were told is that every successful person is so hard. I'm pretty sure at our age now that most of us have met successful people. And have they always been hard workers? Have they always been the most talented people? Have they always just stayed and worked 12, 13 hours? No. I'm telling you, in the real world, those people who are like successful, usually they're dumb. Dumb in a good way, because they're dumb where usually they take the actions, or usually they're naive enough where it flows to them. And they're naive enough by believing also, and they learned this from either their parents or their grandparents, that it should come easy to them because that's what it comes from. So that's why it's like you hear people in this day and age where they say, oh, certain people have a privilege. They have a privilege. Live a privileged life. What they're really saying when they're saying that people have a privilege and they have a privileged life is that it comes easy to them. And why should life come hard? You should start saying that to yourself too. Not everything has to be such a struggle story. Who wants to hear that all the time? No one wants to be around victims. All right. I can't stand dealing with victims. I don't like victims. I don't like hearing victim stories. All right. It bothers me because I'm not a victim. I've never been a victim my whole life. And I always felt like things come easy to me. And that's how my mindset always was. All right. Hey, Jen, I appreciate you being here. Yes, please leave a like in here if you haven't already. Please leave a like in here if you haven't already. Or leave me a super chat if you like this new format on this live stream, this preparation. This was a good show, all right? This is a good show how I set everything up on here. I had entertainment on here. I had the whatever. I had the whole build up of the I showed the wins on there, the wins from the elite. I had the artist of the day. This was a great show to be the first type of live stream podcast kind of thing. So I'm pretty proud about myself on this one. I think it's pretty cool of how the format is. I hope you liked it too. Let me know in the comments if you liked the live stream of what we had today. Let me see who's here. Let me see who's here if you liked it and the format of what we're talking about and how we had the whole structure. All right, so let's continue. We were told everything has to be so hard. Every successful person, it was so hard. Stories of the struggle, stories of the setback. Oh, the depression. I almost gave up 100 times. I worked so hard. Like, who wants to hear that stuff all the time? I mean, it becomes the expected path, and it's not true. Why this narrative dominates? That narrative dominates because people succeeded easily aren't desirable stories. They're not, they're like, oh, okay, well, whatever. The public doesn't want to hear it was simple. There's no drama, which equals no audience. So people think of everything like Instagram. Remember, we talk about the polar bear hairs, the polar bear hairs, 1,000 hours on the polar bear hairs, or that big painting where we did with the lion. They're beautiful paintings, but I think the story is like, oh, the struggle and how long they've actually done it. They spent 1,000 hours doing that. It makes it sound more profound compared to, I believe that they didn't spend 1,000 hours on it, that there was some type of hustle of how they knew how to do it faster. And that's how they did it. But they tell everybody else that there was a struggle, there was drama. So there's an audience. And then they get called lucky. So let's see here. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Success could be easier. Some people achieve wealth without extreme struggle. We know it. We just talked about that, right? We talked about it. But then we're so caught up where we have people in our society now where they say, well, they didn't deserve it. They're privileged. I hate that. Like, why don't they deserve it? Why don't? Why, like, even if they are a Nepo baby or anything like that, they understand or they were taught the universal law of attraction where things come easy to you. And even if you have children too and you're successful, it's okay where things can come easy to them as well. Why would we want our kids to struggle the same way we did? Why would we want to struggle the same way our grandparents did or anything like that? Why do we hold like there's some type of nobility in that? There's not. Why should we be struggling when our kids struggle? We shouldn't. Why should we like hold this up that that's part of our story? It shouldn't be. Some people achieve wealth without the extreme struggle. They don't get platforms to share. So, but when they do share, they get rejected as you're a fraud. Oh, you're a Nepo baby. You're a fraud. Like, I'm not into, like I said, I don't follow Will Smith's kids or whatever, right? But I think that the boy, he's a designer for one of those fashion brand house, one of the big ones. And you know how many people are like, but how did he get that? Like, he didn't go to school for 100,000 hours. He didn't struggle. He didn't do the intern where he had to feed them coffee and he had to do that. Yeah, because who wants to do that if you can have the energy come back to you and you can say to yourself, these things come easy to me. I appreciate that. I always will respect that over somebody who's saying that they struggled their whole life. Nobody wants to hear that. All right. I don't believe that my God put me here to be struggling and everything has to come so difficult to me. I don't believe that. Some things, yes, but not everything. And we need to start making it more of a habit in our lives and our families' lives where things come easy to us. The audience needs to believe it must be hard. Why people reject the easy path? If success was easier, their excuses fall apart. It's just too hard. It justifies their failure. The easy path equals that they had to admit inadequacy. The belief system would shatter. Let's see here. Here's the self-sabotage mechanism. How people make it harder. They're programmed to believe it must be hard. Subconscious creates obstacles. We do that all the time. I mean, we do it with our paintings all the time. That's why it's like a lot of the things that I'm talking about inside the community is I'm talking about the ego. And that's the craziest part, right? It's like, even though I know about eBay and I know how to the algorithm and I know how to set things up and I know about how the success rate on there and I know how to go about that within the coaching, a big part of my coaching is really psychological. It's really talking about the mindset and how to get yourself out of your ego. And your subconscious creates these obstacles because we were trained that from school that everything must be difficult. We must go through all these we must go through all these different things in order to be successful because it must be difficult. Tools and knowledge right there, I mean, that you can't see. But the mindset trap is that if I fail, at least I could say it was hard. I failed because it was difficult. That's a trip, right? When I wrote that on there, like that's a mindset trap. If I fail, if I fail and it's hard for me, I could just tell everybody it's because it was hard. But what if it wasn't hard? And what if you started telling yourself and got conditioned into being like everything comes easy to me? If you start telling yourself that, eventually your mind starts believing it. I tell young people who have issues at their job or whatever in corporate America, I say that if you're having a bad day with your boss or your manager or whoever, tell yourself the next day that it's going to be a great day and that you're going to be the super employee or something like that. Because I said, as long as you keep telling yourself that, eventually one of these days you're eventually going to believe it. You have no choice but to believe it. It's the same thing on here. So the mindset trap also is that it gives them comfort in failure. Well, I fail like everything else, because everything else on earth, it's difficult. It's supposed to be difficult. But in actuality, they're the ones who created the difficulty. You're the ones who created the difficulties in your mind because you were trained by your parents, by your teachers, by your art school that it must be difficult in order for you to achieve and for you to have money. There's some people out here, and I know that you feel guilty if you would get a quick buck for something that maybe you drew a line and you're like, but no, I'm not ready to sell this painting to you. How could you want it for $50? I need to add more layers to it. And it's like you want to work more, like someone conditioned you that it must be more difficult. You need to do more. And it could have been simpler. And I had to tell this to myself. That's why this lesson is important, because this is something that I had to go through. Let's see what we have here in the super chats. Esther said, you should be proud. It helped me get faster and it got easier to paint seeing those crazy artists. Verdant Garden says, very enjoyable. I am in New York time. It hits at our dinner hour. Let's see, better than working 10 or 12 hours for someone else. Exactly. Jaded Hunter says, the only reason it's a struggle is because you're going against the tide and flow in your life. That's so true. If I fail, it's my ability to understand the way or means. Yep. AZ Lady says, if you haven't told them about it and you fail, who cares? Right? Exactly. AZ Lady gets it. That's another key part of why the psychological part of staying silent works, is because if you do fail, you don't have this pressure on you of people checking. Like, we all know this. We all know this. It could be your mom, it could be your loved one, it could be your wife. How many times where you have something that's important and they're saying they're checking on you because they love you, they go, hey, did you pass that test? Did you get that thing? How does it feel when they're checking up and asking these questions? Does it sound like love? No, it sounds like you want to say to them, can you stop asking me about this? I'll let you know when that happens. But you can't even snap back at them with an attitude because you're the one who let them in. And now they have a reason to protrude and like every single day. Like maybe you're waiting to hear back on feedback or something. They're like, hey, how's that thing going that you told us about? How's that art thing? How's that business idea? And then you feel bad. You're like, oh, I don't want to talk. Like, it puts more pressure on you. There was actually a study done. I should have pulled it up before doing this, but there was a study done where it was people who took the bar exam, and it was group A, group B. Group A, they told their family, they told whatever. That group had a higher percentage rate of people who didn't pass the bar exam than group B, who didn't tell anyone, and they passed. They had a higher passing rate because they didn't tell anybody. The pressure wasn't there psychologically. Let's see here. So the lesson on that one is it doesn't have to be hard for everyone. Some paths are genuinely simpler. Difficulty level isn't universal. Accept your path. Don't force the struggle. These are the real things that I talk about when manifesting. Manifesting is that you have to be nonchalant with whatever it is. That's why we also talk about where you have to have a money save, where you have to have a savings on the money on the your good luck jar that you'll never touch because it adds up into your mind where you're nonchalant about anything that you navigate in your life or you negotiate on. You'll be like, whatever. And then it comes to you. Life is already hard. So why should we add more to it? Life inherently has challenges. There's no need to complicate it further. Unconsciously, it makes it harder. We self sabotage and subconscious programs resisting success. We do this all the time. And it's hard for us. You have to be a very rare, exceptional person to just consciously avoid these things. We do it to ourselves and we don't even realize it. Or, these are some of the programs that sabotage us. We say things to ourselves like, I must suffer to deserve it. You know, easy success isn't real success. If it's too easy, then it's not real money. That's what people think about some of the art that we do. Oh, they use a projector or they're just taking such a short amount of time. Then that's not real success. The real success is they're spending 1,000 hours on the polar bear hairs. I need the struggle to prove myself. So how to identify them? Just notice when you're making things more complicated. This is something that made me so much money. This is how I was able to make over $1 million. It's when I stopped complicating things. When I said to myself, okay, God doesn't want everything to be complicated. It doesn't need to be. Notice when simple solutions appears, you reject it. Notice when you create unnecessary obstacles. These are the programs that's running in the back of your mind. You have to acknowledge it. So we have to simplify our current path. Look at your eBay business. Where are you overcomplicating things? What simple solution are you ignoring? Why are you ignoring it? Question the programs. Do I need to do it this way? I know I've been doing it this way, or maybe I was taught to do it this way, but for me, does it feel like I need to do it this way? Am I adding unnecessary steps? Is there a simpler path that I am rejecting? Why am I rejecting it? And that's what we have right there. I mean, I have a whole, like I said, I wrote out a whole book on this that I will share in the community, but I just really wanted to touch base and go over those two chapters right there of how you can help yourself not feel burnt out. Because burnt out means that also you feel like you're putting yourself through pain and that you need to do it, that you deserve to go through this type of pain. And you don't need to go through that type of pain. You don't need to feel like you have to burn yourself out in order to make money. Everything has to be complicated. It has to be difficult because it doesn't. And once I understood that, I was able to flow with it, make more money, and I was okay with the art that I was doing where I was dropping my ego. All right. So I hope that helped on that. If you haven't left a like already on this live stream, please leave a like on here. Let YouTube know that we got a great thing going on here, that we're doing God's work out here, but also that you like the new stream on here, right? Like that we have broken down. It's not always just going to be about painting. There's only so much painting that I can do compared to having these real type of conversations with you, where these are things that I can have more of a calculated, concise thought of mindset and things that can really help you along the way on your business and how you're going. I mean, I've already done the work. All right, we already know. I've already sold the 18,000. We got to get you there though. You're the next one. You're about to make the next money out there. All right. If you're not already a part of the elite community, join us in the elite community. The link is it's in the chat. It's pinned to the top, so you can click there and we could show you how you can do this for yourself. You don't have to be tech savvy. You can just upload. You can copy and paste. Everything is built out for you. We have weekly Q&A meetings on there, and yeah, you wouldn't be doing it alone. You have a whole community. Let me see what the community is saying right now. Let me see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Jada Hunter says loved ones always like to tell you about the things you could improve on instead of telling you how they're proud of you. Yeah, that's one of them too. Let's see here. Real success is having your art in many homes. Exactly. I always love when the collectors are showing me the artwork that they put in the house. I always love that because it's up to them. They could always sell it if they wanted to or anything like that. I don't have a problem with resellers, but it always brings joy that they have my artwork that's hanging in their kitchen and their living room or anything like that. That's just a great feeling because that's what it was made for, to be warm and colorful. All right. All right, so I appreciate you. I'm going to be back here tomorrow, the same time at 2 p.m. Unless I change it. I mean, I don't think that I'm going to be changing it, but who knows? Maybe I'll do it at the 8 a.m. time. I mean, what did you think about this time that we had so far right now? Starting it at 2 p.m. Pacific time compared to the 8:30, right? What did you think? Did you like the time? You like Esther says, I love the new format. That really means a lot to me. Thank you so much, Esther. That's great. What did you think about the new time? Y'all okay with that? Is that cool? That way it's like you know, 8:30 is not too early for me, but at the same point, it's like I still need to operate and do different things in my emails and different businesses. Great day, thank you. 2 p.m. is great. That's what the sweet life says. Yeah, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is great because I feel like I'm more warmed up. My brain's more warmed up, and also I can have things more organized of what the show is going to be and things that I would like to show you guys. All right. So I appreciate everybody here. I'm gonna see you again tomorrow at 2 p.m. and stay busy. Stay busy. Oh, I appreciate that, Esther. Thank you so much for the super chat. That really means a lot to me. Leave a little put a heart on there. That really means a lot. All right. Aloof, Spoos, Aleph, Aleph. Works out. Let's see here. Maybe mix it up with the 8:30 sometimes. That's 11:30. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Iron everything out. I like the new format, but I like watching you paint too and doing improv. Yeah, I one of the things is like can't serve two masters is what we say, and it's like one of them fails of the other. I really like going off of having a more calculated mindset of the things that I'm talking about of a structure. I feel like when I'm painting, there's not too much. Sometimes there's not a structure there. All right, but this was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm about to get off here now so we could get going, and I'll see you tomorrow, or I'll see you inside of the community. All right, I appreciate you.